If you remember me talking a bit ago about in my video about the convention I went to that was put on by my church, you'll remember I talked about this one area where that I wanted to elaborate on, and it was this mutual dating app had like their own booth areas set up. So let me turn off dark mode. This is what their website looks like. This is the endorsements that they have. So again, it is oriented towards Latter-day Saints or members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You know, however it goes. They've got their own, like, different things and all that. But so in that aspect, they were basically brought in to help host a mix and mingle area, like different date ideas, like I mentioned, and things like that. They're right next to the video game area, at kind of like at the very end of the hangout area, very, very in the back. And if you were looking, I also mentioned and put up this picture of the boards with sticky notes all over it. So the whole deal behind these boards was that they have like these different poster board things pinned to it, and they each had different questions like or different statements, whatever. You fill it in, answer the question, what have you. What's your favorite movie and why? Or we're made for each other if, things like that, kind of the dating profile questions. I don't know if they have anything about, no, maybe not. They do have like a few different services, the main dating app, and then like a date night discounts app, so you can get discounts for dates for two, basically, on stuff. But yeah, you answer basic dating profile questions that they have. They've got like a whole slew of them, but they've got 4 different ones set up. And you put your answer to that on it, and you put your name and your phone number on it as well. So you have people putting their phone numbers. You can see like different kinds of people putting up sticky notes or walking up to it and things like that. And you leave your phone number for a random person to either scrape it and add it to their list of people they want to contact, or to text you right away. Again, like, the intention is to get like this intermingling and mixing going on. But in the process, you also risk this whole privacy violation thing. So if we go back, we should be able to find the mutual privacy policy. So here, it makes it much more difficult to enforce a privacy policy that you have for your company or for your apps that you agree to when you put it up here. Now, a lot of people, I don't know if they're thinking about this, but when you put your name and number up here, or just your phone number, there's a lot of information you can get from a phone number. So you end up risking, like, what data do they have on my phone number that I don't necessarily want getting out, or what kind of a creep is going to text me because I leave my number on the board here. And that's the thing. There are different answers that you may find interesting, and so, hey, let's get to know each other and be friends. This is like an ongoing connection thing that is really good, especially post-COVID. But it can turn into a disaster when you don't consider the other things if you get the wrong kind of people in there. Considering the kind of checking and security that was going on when you're in the building already. If you don't, like, if you're badgeless, no one seemed to really bat an eye when you have a badge off to the side or halfway missing. So you're kind of looking at security. Maybe security is paying attention to it. I did have like my badge hanging from my backpack, so it was with me. But other than that, there are a lot of people that aren't going to notice, and security is much less than you may think. So, and a lot of the volunteers are not told to check for badges and ask, hey, where's your badge? So you do kind of run into those issues. So it makes it really easy to walk around the back, get in, and get around things so that you can get to the back of this room. Because if you were to consider up here, this is kind of where that back walkway is that I took some other pictures from up here. And that overlooks this whole area right here, where I took one of my pictures from in the other video in the overview. So, and security, from what I could tell, didn't go too frequently back and forth here. And a lot of the convention center staff, I don't think looks for badges either. So you kind of run into these different things that end up like tipping off like, hey, you could have a maligned actor show up. If they were aware of the fact that they could scrape at least 200 phone numbers off of these boards, or well, a fair number of phone numbers off of these boards that could then later on get sold to scammers for nefarious purposes. You also have people that would post their Instagram or put their Instagram profile on and be like, okay, contact me via Instagram along with their phone number or just their Instagram. Now, there were a fair number that only put the answer to the question and then left it be because it's like, why am I going to put my phone number here? Or they didn't fully read it, which to their benefit, they didn't read very well what the signs over here said that I didn't get a picture of. So if you look over here, you can see people kind of gathering around here. There's a table here with a like thing of instructions, like right next to each one of these boards. And it's like, okay, answer the question, leave your name, leave your number, and then go and look for someone that you find interesting and like shoot them a text message. And so to some of their detriment, about like at least a third of them probably didn't read that part. They saw sticky notes and said, hey, I'm going to answer this and then leave it be. So it's kind of like this collaboration idea when there's no contact information to go off of. So it becomes really interesting. So if we were to take, for example, a mysterious phone number, if I were in the right window, so we go over here, we look at, it was osintframework.com, my favorite place. And some people only left their number there, so we can sit here and we can go through and let us, and these phone records may not be the most accurate, keep in mind too. So this is kind of like the bad part of knowing what to look for. Let's do free carrier lookup first. And then I believe that's them. We'll also do whitepages.com because that is very, very reliable. 702 292. We're gonna copy that. Okay, so we've got a basically AT&T phone, so singular. You can see. Understandable. And then we go here, search. Oh wait, we want reverse phone. Here we go. Search. View owner's name. So you can, it says it's Pocatello, Idaho number. Oh, darn it. Okay, so we go over here. We've got some interesting information just off of this one phone number. So we've got 2 years old. And then we've got 4 years old. Again, they're still in Las Vegas, both of the zip codes, but recorded in 2011. Again, we've got another Vegas. Another Vegas. Okay, This one is actually the same address, same number, different emails. This one's at Verizon for some reason, which is interesting because it says it's an AT&T number in the lookup, but you can see you've got a few different options for what it could actually be. So, depending on how trusting you are, it becomes an issue of trusting who it is. Let's see. We don't need that one. I believe this one was pretty thorough as well. Why is it going into Anaheim? I don't believe you. Oh yeah, this is one of the buy my membership thing ones. And OSCent doesn't have the most up-to-date stuff on what requires a membership and what doesn't, obviously, for some reason. But yeah, you can see here, not all the links are accurate, so it's kind of broken at the moment. Obviously, US phone book, if we go here, we can pop that in, get that up. So this is the other interesting thing. I believe, yeah, you can see relatives, associates, emails connected to it. Yeah, again, another Las Vegas, Nevada address, 44 years old. So this becomes very, very interesting. Previous phone numbers, holy cow. That's not what I wanted. Let's do that one. Nope. Let's go with 28 more. See? We can't search through all that. But very, 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 yeah. If I were to take every number, it would be very interesting. But yeah, you can see that it kind of becomes, how do you enforce a privacy policy like this? So what we got is we've got collect information, identify you personally, information prior to us. In order to use the app, will be required to create a user profile. Such you'll need to sign in using your Facebook login. They don't do Facebook logins anymore. That got discontinued. Once you have logged into the app and as part of creating your profile, you may be prompted to permit Mutual to access certain information from Instagram and your other social media. Also be asked to allow Mutual to collect location information from your device when using the app. May collect and store any personal information you provided as part of creating your profile during your use of the service. May include identifying information such as your name, email address, number, and if you transact. So they do telephone number logins mostly now. Financial information, depending on how you pay for stuff. Technology is used to collect information, automatically collect information from your browser or device when you visit the service. IP address, device ID, type. So if you're using something like Calyx or Graphene, you can spoof the device ID pretty easily. The IP address you can mask somewhat. They're going to use your public IP address, which if you're on an CG natting one, it's going to change, but they can still see the carrier you're going through, or ISP. Browser type and language, operating system used by your device, access times, mobile devices, geographic location when app is open or actively running, and referring website address. Cookie data, must assign your device one or more cookies to facilitate access, personalized experience. Use a cookie to automatically collect information about your activity. Pages you visit, time and date of visits, links you click. If we advertise, may use certain data collected on the service to show you advertisements on other sites or applications. So this is like somewhat tailored advertising. Pixel tags, Web pages, ads, and emails, invisible, used to access cookies and track users. Tracking pixels. So there's a way to block that kind of stuff. Pixel tags to measure popularity of various aspects of the service. So this is basically mostly measuring, like, is this pixel being requested or not? So ad companies also use pixel tags to measure the number of ads displayed, which of course, like, is this being trafficked? Mobile device IDs. If you're using the app, we use mobile device IDs or advertising IDs instead of cookies to recognize you, to store your preferences and track your use of the app. So they're app tracking across the app. Information collected by third parties may allow service providers, advertising companies, and ad networks, and other third parties to display advertisements through the service. These companies may use tracking technologies such as cookies, or web beacons to collect information about users who view or interact with their advertisements. We do not provide any non-anonymized personal information to third parties. So we only anonymized data is apparently provided to them, to advertising. How we use information we collect in general. So this is the part where it gets interesting, because you, in essence, have collected information on a bunch of sticky notes in a public area. And so what I can do, as someone looking directly at it, is gather these, which is non-anonymized information here, and use it for my own purposes in a list. If I were to compile a list of all the phone numbers I found, all of a sudden I have phone numbers, and in many cases names connected to those phone numbers, and some information about the person, like their likes, some of their likes and dislikes in this. So this is non-anonymized information, and it gives me data points that I can use for advertising to these people. On top of that, see, verify eligibility, provide an improved service, manage your account, provide customer support, perform research and analysis about your use of or potential interest in our or third-party content, products, and services, communicate with you by email or through app about our or third parties' content, products, or services that may be of interest to you. Like, we are going to be at the Utah YSA area conference, and we're going to be back here running the show back here. And then we will also have flyers for our swim party that we are doing at the end of August. Analyze, display, and track content and advertising tailored to your interests through the service and other sites, including providing our advertisements to you when you visit other sites. And there's no opting out of this, I think, for some reason. So there is a Utah consumer privacy law. I don't remember if I did a video on that or not, but perform website and mobile application analysis, enforce or exercise any rights under our terms of service. Perform functions or services otherwise described to you at the time we collect information from you. So, perform functions or services otherwise described. So, they do describe, like, they do warn you will be texted by random people, and they don't quite take into account all the warning about all the risks of giving your phone number out in this area. So it's a high trust area that you're putting your phone number out in, and you're trusting that someone doesn't screw up with it. In all cases, we may perform functions directly or using third-party vendor. If we use any third-party vendor, our agreements with the vendor will limit their right to use information collected about you, performing functions solely on mutual's behalf. Also, if you access Surface from a third-party social platform such as Facebook, we may share non-personal information with that platform to the extent permitted by your agreement with that third party and its privacy settings. Your choices about collecting information. Who we share information with other users. When you complete your profile and begin using the app, your profile will be viewable by other users of the app. You can see the information in your profile by going to to settings and view my profile in the app. If you swipe up to indicate that you're interested in another user, you'll be able to chat with that user if they also swipe up to indicate that the interest is mutual. If you chat with users with whom you have matched, those users will be able to see the content of your messages to them, just as they would through Apple's iMessage or any other mobile messaging service. We don't share personal information except as described in the privacy policy service providers. We may disclose your information, including personal information, in the following circumstances: in response to a court order or request for cooperation from law enforcement or another government agency, to exercise or establish legal rights, to defend against legal claims or otherwise required by law. In such cases, we may raise or waive any legal objection or right available to us. So if they come a knocking and just asking without a warrant or subpoena, then we'll hand it over. Is what it almost sounds like. When we believe disclosure is appropriate in connection with efforts to investigate, prevent, or take other action to prevent or stop illegal activity, suspected fraud, or other wrongdoing, to protect and defend the rights, property, and safety of our business and users, shareholders. When we are threatened in connection with the corporate transaction as the sale of all or part of our business, if we plan on selling out, non-personal information. So you can limit the information you provide, choose not to provide certain information, notifications. You may decide to disable notifications, cookies. You can delete or decline cookies by changing your browser settings. Protecting your personal information, security measures. We take security measures to help safeguard your information from unauthorized access and disclosure. What else can you do to protect it? Disclose personal information as party profile or chats. That information will be viewable by other mutual users. We encourage you to use discretion and caution when choosing what personal information to disclose. We restrict the use of app to individuals who are at least 18 years old, and we do not knowingly collect or maintain or use personal information from children under the age of 13. Visiting the service from outside the United States, changes to privacy policy. So, it would be interesting to see how this goes in connection with, Utah's, consumer privacy laws. But this video has been long enough, so, yeah, I will watch out for what you do. It's really hard to control the outgoing of personal information when you set up a board like that and you have a privacy policy, but then you have also this going on right here that makes it easy for people to take personal information, scrape it for other information like we just did, and use different data points to figure out different information about the person that they may not necessarily know in person. If you liked the content, if you enjoyed it, if you think I deserve it, like, comment, subscribe, leave any criticisms you have or what have you. I appreciate it. Feed that algorithm, like I said, and I will see you guys in the next one.